station making history every day.
Chicago, Chicago.
Now, Jake Hartford and John Cass.
89.
9:07, 9:07.
Jake Hartford, John Cass, 89 WLS. We'll be taking your calls at 591-8900. What a great weekend. What a great week to come.
It's a Monday morning.
It's great. Are you in those Monday morning thing?
What's that?
You don't have like that Monday morning.
No, I'm a 7-day-a-week person, so it doesn't really matter.
There you go.
Sad story the other day, and the more I read about this, it's very, people have to watch out. There is a puppy, 7-month-old puppy in Riverside, was killed the other day by a coyote.
Yeah. Sad. It was a...
Bichon Poo?
Bichon Poo was written by a legendary newsman in Chicago at the Chicago Breaking News Center. Haywood Hoffman, goes by Woody. Used to help run the City News Bureau for like the last 50 years. And Woody, I saw Woody the other day and I said, Woody, that's so heartbreaking. And he said, yeah, isn't it? It's really heartbreaking.
Woody thought it was funny?
No. It's just the way, it is heartbreaking. A little dog is out in the backyard in Riverside, and here comes the coyote.
Apparently, there's a lot of coyotes in this area, and they're attacking dogs like crazy. Here's a story from earlier this fall. It was done by Bill Curtis. He was talking about in Wheaton on the night of September 20th. A couple's 2 dogs were attacked by 6 coyotes in their backyard. 6 coyotes.
A pack.
It says 1 dog, Jake, survived, but their Yorkie, Floyd, was killed, and it was one of 4 attacks on dogs in the Wheaton area over the last 2 months. And it goes on to explain in Wheaton, Lake Zurich, Crystal Lake, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what makes Wheaton a real bad area is the prairie path.
Right.
They call that the superhighway for coyotes.
They come all the way from the west, yeah. Come in. We had a lot years ago.
We need to build a wall.
Now, I've been living in the suburbs for the last 17 years. And, when we first moved out there, I didn't see a lot of rabbits. Then all of a sudden, you see rabbits everywhere, right? Pretty soon they're just standing there as big as dogs. They're sitting there eating everything they can eat, or your garden. You had to put fences up if you wanted to grow beans and so on. Well, guess what? When you have a lot of rabbits, that's like I think it's tastier to coyotes than dog. And all of a sudden, here come the coyotes.
There was one woman, her poor dog Diamond, it was in Aurora. She said she opened up her patio and looked out, and the dog was clenched in the jaw of the coyote.
There is a coyote problem, clearly, right? Number one, they're probably someday, you have to think about it, they're predators. So they get what they can grab. Can you imagine? God forbid they go after a kid. Sooner or later, some kid's going to be left out there on the patio. It's going to happen.
Here's what I don't understand. In Chicago, they have a coyote program.
They're patrolling the streets, Jake. It's called the Cook County, Illinois Coyote Project.
And these are the authorized coyotes.
The good ones?
That have their own little territory.
Yeah.
And if sometimes they stray into the next block into some other coyote's territory, they got to bring them back. How do people know a good coyote from a bad coyote? Is there such a thing as a good coyote?
They've got a radio collar on, and maybe they have inoculations.
What keeps them from attacking somebody's dog?
Because you know why? They're predators. Why don't we bring some wolves in to attack the coyotes? It's almost like Australia again.
591-8900 is the phone number. Marty in Wheaton. Good morning, Marty.
Hi, Jake and John. Yeah, I live just a few blocks off the prairie path. We've had about 6 dogs killed by coyotes out in Wheaton this past year. And it ticks me off because they do come in packs. They hunt 4 or 5 to a pack, and they go up and down the prairie path, and they drift into our neighborhoods. I found one in the middle of the day in my backyard with a possum hanging from his mouth this past summer. But what ticks me off is that whoever is responsible for introducing these things back into our neighborhoods ought to be shot themselves.
Marty, I don't think they were brought in by some crazy scientist. I think they just came down the prairie path after all the rabbits. Have you noticed in Wheaton, are there as many rabbits as you used to have?
No, the rabbits are disappearing, but there's the police departments, DuPage County Police Department says, well, there's nothing we can do about it. Well, they do have serve and protect on the side of their cars, and that means your property. And what's your pet? Your property.
Could they just shoot the coyotes? Or do they have to be? Or do they have to be humane and pick them up out of Wheaton and take them over to Crystal Lake?
Take them to LaGrange.
This past summer on the south end of Wheaton, I think they trapped them and relocated them, but that's not good enough because they just come back. They need to get rid of these things.
Thank you, Marty.
We don't need predators running around our neighborhoods.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
why we got to come up with a solution. I was thinking maybe
shoot them.
Besides that, what if we wanted to do a nonviolent solution? Kind of like we could create...
You want to be the Pied Piper of coyotes?
Like, no, I don't want to be in the pro-coyote party, but we could have, like, chainmail little sweaters made of chainmail with the John and Jake logo.
You know, not only are dogs getting attacked, humans are being attacked. There was a guy in Seattle the other day, got attacked by 3 coyotes in his backyard. He's sitting there laying nice on his patio, reading the newspaper. Next thing he knows, he had 3 coyotes at his throat.
Oh.
That's not a good way to go, John.
No.
Dan in Kankakee. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning, guys. You have a great radio show, and I listen every day. But I'm from Iroquois County, and we have a massive coyote problem out here. I mean, we see them roaming in pretty big packs. It's not uncommon to see them at 4 or 5 o'clock at night, or sometimes even in the afternoon. And actually, a couple of years ago, there was a guy out by us, had about 1,000-pound cow, and they took down the cow, killed the calf, and killed his dog. We shoot them on sight out here.
How many coyotes does it take to take down a 1,000-pound cow?
A lot.
Probably quite a few. I don't really know, but it took down a 1,000-pound cow. It didn't kill the cow, but it did kill the cow's calf.
How about, can I put the woodsman hat on a little bit here, Dan? What's the whitetail population doing now that the coyotes are probably going after fawns in the spring, too, right?
Yeah, they out on the west edge of the county, I'd say there's probably quite a few more deer than there used to be. Used to never see any. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but there's quite a few deer in Iroquois County.
Oh, really? So they're not going after the little baby deer, the fawns, and so on?
I
thought they would.
I'd say a majority of the hunting we see out here is, I farm, and sometimes I'll just running through the field. You can see where they got something, and a lot of the animals you see they got were rabbits.
So you're out in the field, you see a couple coyotes. What do you do?
Yeah, I'm in a tractor. Nothing.
Thanks, Dan.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Danny.
I mean, there was a picture of a couple months ago. There was a coyote out in front of Wrigley Field. You think you'd see buzzards outside of Wrigley Field, but coyotes, no. But there was one. We'll get back to your calls right after Traffic on the Fives on a Monday morning with Ryan Burrow. John Cass, Jake Hartford, back here on 89 WOS. Back to Wheaton with Lena. Good morning, Lena.
Good morning, Jake and John. I'm calling because I sighted a coyote I was pulling out of a parking lot, and I saw a coyote. And they were it was near a senior facility, that with seniors that can move around anyway. But I called the police department because I was concerned about the seniors and also animals. And I was shocked that the police department told me that they're protected animals. And she said, just go in the house if you see one. And I said, it's not for me. I'm not living in that facility. And I was shocked because aren't dogs and people protected?
So what you're saying, Lena, is that the police told you that if there's coyotes in the area and there's senior citizens who can't move too quickly when there's seniors,
right?
The seniors were on their own.
Well, exactly. She said they're protected animals. Nothing we could do.
Well, actually, that's a typical bureaucratic response, nonsensical.
I was shocked. I thought they're a danger to the community. Would you not want to protect the citizens if you see one? And sure, I didn't say go out and shoot them, but at least, I reported it thinking I was doing a good thing, and I was just shocked. But that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Lena.
Lena, go out. I think you should go out and shoot them. But we're getting a text from the Townstone Financial text line. Here's one. Anybody over 45 knows the bad coyotes use Acme products.
Will in Skokie. Good morning, Will.
Good morning, gentlemen. Out here, I live in Skokie, and to the west of us, we've got all those forest preserves, and there's also a large, newer glass apartment, actually condo complex out there as well. And the thing we've been seeing the last 4 or 5 years is a real big uptick in the number of peregrine falcons.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it is, and I love it. It was, and I see them coming down. We have rabbits, we have chipmunks, but they also now this summer they started coming down and getting squirrels, and I would see once or twice a week. I'm just driving or walking, all of a sudden, off they go. They just pick the squirrel up off the floor. I had this friend of mine from Evanston who's a real tree hugger, and we were driving someplace, and right in front of our truck there was a black squirrel, and the falcon came down, got it, took off. You could even hear the squirrel kind of screaming as it took off, and my friend is like, "What is this?" She's just all freaked out, and I'm like, that's nature. That's what happens in nature, You want to be a tree hugger, you want to be natural, that's what happens in nature.
Yeah. That's my fantasy. To have a falcon at my wrist, my dog Zeus in the field.
Attacking a senior?
No, not attacking a senior, but scaring up game birds and then releasing the falcon, and not one shot, and you get stew.
That's a heck of a fantasy.
That is something.
Stephanie in Lake Forest. Good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning.
Hey, Steph.
Hi. And we've been seeing them for the last month along our west side of our property.
Oh, gosh.
Security lights, doesn't matter if it's 4:30 in the afternoon, 8 o'clock last night, brought the dogs in, 5 minutes later it's just prancing along 10 feet away from our house.
If you want and I have a cousin of mine, George, the oral surgeon who lives in Barrington, and he's got a great answer for coyotes.
Well, a friend of ours actually did say he'd come by, he'd shoot one, put it in, the carcass somewhere and, back at the end of our property, and that would be the end of it. They said that they wouldn't show up again.
Or you could get a Turkish Kangal, Kangal. They're incredible dogs. They're gigantic. All they do is sit on the highest part of your backyard, and they'll sit there forever. They don't even move unless a coyote or some kind of predator or a stranger comes near your yard, and then you'll see something different.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
So then you have a big Turkish dog problem.
Right.
Carol in Frankfurt. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning.
Hi, Carol.
Good morning. I'm so sick of hearing about coyotes. I blame the people who don't know how to walk a dog on a leash. If they have a yard, they just leave them out there forever. It's the people. If you're with your dog, the coyote's more afraid of people than they are.
Well, they're attacking people now, too.
No, I don't believe that.
The guy in Seattle, Jake just said.
Fear-mongering. Oh, they're going to eat seniors next and everything. That's a bunch of crap. And people are goofy because if there were too many rabbits, we'd be yelling about rabbits. If there's too many raccoons, we yell about raccoons. Please, go live in the city up high somewhere and stay the heck out of our area then if you don't belong to live in the suburbs.
Carol, I hope the day never comes where you're outside and that coyote goes for your throat.
I would never be afraid of it.
What would you do? What would you do?
I would make noise, I suppose. They're more afraid of people.
You'd be making noise, all right, Carol.
I haven't by me, but my dogs would never be out there. Ever.
Hey, Carol, what kind of noise could you make that would scare a coyote?
I don't know. I don't want to deal with you people. You are
We love
ignorant.
you, Carol. Carol, come on. I just don't want Carol to be like, walking alone out in the suburbs.
So I understand this. We're ignorant because a lot of people are having their dogs killed by coyotes.
Carol's point. Wow. I think she didn't make it right.
Love to be her neighbor.
I think Carol's point is that if you have a little dog, you can't leave it out in the backyard. But guess what? We're not in the wilderness. This is like the suburbs of Chicago.
So you don't leave your child out in the backyard either? Your 4 or 5-year-old can't go play? 7-year-old can't play? Really? Think about that.
Think about it.
9:22, back right after this.
Coming up today at 2 on Rowan Roper, we're going to be at Harry Caray's live to get you ready for Notre Dame's shot at the national championship. Rowan Roper, afternoons, 89 WLS.
927.
Jake Hartford, John Cass, 89 WLS. We're talking the scourge of coyotes. And again, I tell you, we've got to come up with a little sweater made of barbed wire or something for these dogs to wear to protect them.
Reading a news story here, Mayor Michael Gresk, he was mayor at the time of the news story. I don't know if he still is. He's from Wheaton. He said Wheaton's policy for dealing with coyotes is to coexist with them. He says, and I quote, "Look large, make noise, whistle. I have an old pop bottle filled with pennies that I shake."
Yeah, that's what they tell you to scare the bears away in northern Ontario when you go fishing. And one time, my brothers and I went up fishing, and we saw there was a bear. It was about 600 pounds. We pounded pots and pans together. Guess what? The bear didn't do anything except look at us like he wanted to eat us.
Rose in Burridge. Good morning, Rose.
Yes, good morning.
Hey, Rose.
I want to say that coyotes are a big problem in my area. I lost my cat. It'll be 2 years in July. One of my neighbors, because in Burridge you have to have electronic fences for your pets, the poor dog was inside the yard because he couldn't leave the yard, but the coyote has no collar. So naturally he goes in there and gets the dog. And again, I have big property, and 2 deer have been attacked and killed on my property. They take them down, take what they want to eat, and leave the poor animal there to die. You call the county, and they say, well, that's your problem, and no, you can't shoot them because they are protected.
Well, they're lying.
They're
just lying. They're lying to these people, aren't they? They're not protecting animals. They're varmints. They're called varmints. I don't think they're protected. I looked at some websites. You can hunt them if you have the ammo. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. And
it's a couple different people now have been told by authorities.
No, they're
protected.
They've been told by coppers who don't want to do anything.
People carry the pop bottle with the pennies everywhere you go.
Or the Turkish Kangal is my choice.
9:30, time for news, weather, traffic right here on 89 WLS.
This is Jake Hartford and John Cass, 89 WLS.